All right, everybody, we are back. This is Creativity is the Cure. I'm your host, Malcolm Moore, and today I have my good friend, Robert C. Guy. How are you doing today, Robert?
Man, I'm doing great, Malcolm. How about yourself, man?
Good. It's so good to talk to you. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, way back in the Larchmont Charter, West Hollywood days. It's been a minute doing those morning sessions with you and just excited to reconnect.
Yeah. We'll get into that too. And just for people out there that don't know, Robert is a well-known bass vocalist, primarily recognized for his long tenure and powerful contributions to the Christian vocal group Acappella. Does that sound about right?
Yep, yeah, I've been with Acappella Ministries since 1992. In fact, yeah, it's been a
Wow.
good minute.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a long time. That's amazing. Let's tell
yeah,
everybody how we know each other. I used to work at a school called Holly Grove in
yeah.
Hollywood, California, and I ran this musical event every Friday called Morning Sing. And at that time, Robert had a young daughter named Riley, who, how old
Yep.
is she now?
Riley is 14 years old.
Oh my gosh, where does the time go?
Yeah, high school now.
Oh, jeez. I think I remember the way I met you is Riley wanted to play violin at Morning Sing. Does that sound right?
That's right. So Larchmont Charter School there in Holly Grove, the Holly Grove campus. I think Riley may have been in, shoot, maybe third grade. And of course, you guys had the morning sing on Friday. So that was always exciting. That my wife worked in West Hollywood. So she would come over, I would come over, and we'd be a part of the morning sing, which, of course, music being my love, I was always loving to be a part of that. And I think that one time, Riley was just started playing violin.
Yeah, she had just
And
begun.
yeah. So she was doing violin and she was ready and prepped. She's like, hey, I said, hey, you want to do something on the recital and present your piece? And she's like, okay, let's do it. So got a chance to chat with you and man, the rest is history. She got up there and did her thing and
Very
got her
brave.
confidence up. Yeah.
Yeah, and just so people know, imagine doing this every single Friday, just about every single Friday of the year. We would put together this big show for about 500 to 800 people. The kids, the students, everybody would perform. And in Riley's case, a lot of times students that were getting ready for recital would be like, hey, you want to do it in front of a whole bunch of people because then when you get to your recital, you'd be a little more comfortable, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep. And that's
one of my favorite days, I think we were doing the song Happy by Pharrell, and we
mhm.
didn't, I don't know if you remember this, but we didn't have a bass player that day. And suddenly I hear the bass part. I turn around and you're singing it like pitch perfect. I just can't tell you how happy and surprised I was that day.
Well, as musicians, when there's a void, you just feel right in. So the music was there. You guys were. It was a lot of fun. Every Friday was super exciting,
Yeah.
especially for the kids. Music's that language that everybody speaks, and it was just a way to let our guards down. The kids can have fun with it, and I just applaud you and the other parents that volunteered. Some of the
Oh,
other parents
yeah.
that stepped
Yeah.
up, bring their musical instruments and make their contributions. Just really pouring into the kids, which to me was just phenomenal, and obviously just leading them to even bigger and better things in their future.
Yeah. It was
So that
so fun and so rewarding. And I ended up doing that for about 10 years. And one more thing that I really loved about Morning Sing is for the holidays, especially in December, you would bring a choir with you. Who were those
oh yeah.
people, and how did you end up getting them to come to Morning Sing? Because it was so fun and celebratory. I've always loved gospel music, and it was so fun. I think you would bring maybe 3 or 4 people with you.
Yeah. In fact, that was so exciting here. So at that time, and still, I'm involved in music ministry, and of course, in the local church, and of course, we have choirs and little ensembles and such. And most of our churches are preferred a cappella churches. We when during our worship services, we don't have any instruments; it's all vocals. So me, of course, my wheels are always turning. So when we talked about the big annual get together, I said, you know what if we could bring some people together? So I I talked to a few of my better singers from the groups, and I said, hey, are you guys available? Some of them are musicians, so they don't
Yeah.
they don't have the regular 9 to 5 kind of thing. So and some of them did. So they say, hey, I can get by there before work. And so they came over and I can't remember, we did Christmas songs and I can't remember what else, but it just, that to me, again, it's just our opportunity to pour out what's been poured into us and inspire kids and other people just to, you know, just do what you love to do. And music is definitely that thing. So we were honored just to be able to do that. It was a lot of fun. Wish we could have done more, to be honest.
I agree. And one of the things I liked about teaching at that school is we really celebrated all cultures and spiritualities. And we would have things like Lunar New Year, Dia de los Muertos, Christmas,
Mm.
Hanukkah. And you know what was wonderful is no matter who was out there in the audience, everybody loved everything and tried to learn more about each other. And I wish that could happen more in the world today.
Yeah, yeah, especially today, man. We've got so much division and competition and everything's about me and my, and it's, our world is made up of just really being able to live together in spite of or despite our differences. If we see things differently, that's okay. We can still function and live in our everyday world together. And that to me, again, that's what I said earlier. Music crosses every boundary. I mean, I don't care what it is. If you get music involved, that's one of the only times in our world, especially in our country, where people actually come together.
Yeah.
Concerts, you got concerts where you have every kind of person, no matter what kind of music you're going to listen to or performing arts event that you're attending, you're going to have so many different people and so many different beliefs and whatnot in one place, all for one purpose, and that's to enjoy that common that common thing, which whoever it is on the stage. So that's why I try to seize every opportunity to share what I believe and just and how God has blessed me and bringing so many others on board. That's why that opportunity, bringing my friends over to sing for that event, and a lot of kids, they look at it like, oh man, you guys don't have any instruments. How do you make how do you make the music? And I said, well, you know what? Before instruments came along, we all had the instrument. And at that point, and this is just my little take on it, I always say when people started, banging on a drum or uh, banging on something to make a sound, it's all used by human. You can't make the sound without the human. And guitars and harps and all those things, they were created to mimic what our brains were kind of saying. It's like, oh, I want to hear this sound. So it comes from us. We just display it through those instruments. So it's just a powerful tool. And people say, oh man, like you said, that bass part, man, it comes so natural now. It's kind of annoying when I hear something. And I was just on tour just a few weeks ago, a week or so ago, and our bass player, he's playing music, and we were in sound check one time, and I was doing what he was doing. He's like, "Man, how did you hear that?" I said, "It just comes natural in my head. Just I'm thankful for the gift that what bass is always in my spirit."
Yeah, I wanted to add two things too. Number one, I'm really thankful for that time where we did morning sing for so many years. Most importantly, because all those kids, many of them I've known now for 12 to 13 years, they got to
Mm.
grow up in an environment learning how to respect each other despite our differences. And that was so powerful to me. I was going to get into this later, but I think I told you before in my 30s, this is quite a long time ago, I was a minister for about 10 years. And one of the most
Yeah.
magical experiences is we were doing a relief and development in Kigoma, Tanzania. And
Mm.
that in itself blew my mind and just changed my life forever. But one of the most magical moments is we went to visit a church. And I'm a drummer, so I love rhythm. And I get to the
Mm.
church, dirt floor, no instruments. I was like, what's going to happen here? Are people just going to talk? Suddenly,
All right.
everybody started singing. Not only was the singing beautiful, but the rhythms, and there were no drums, they were clapping. I consider myself a fairly good drummer, but I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I could not keep up with some of the polyrhythms. And that goes
Uh-huh.
back to what you said, Robert, is the most important thing is the voice and what we can do with our human body. And I just thought it was tremendously beautiful. Have you ever seen any type of music like that? I know you do a cappella, but combined with complex clapping.
Yeah, in fact, and it's been in countries like mostly in Africa because, a lot of rhythm and just last year, I had the opportunity to go to Zimbabwe, which thankfully I'm actually going back tomorrow, heading back tomorrow. But
Wow.
it's it's a great opportunity, and here it was on New Year's Eve, their big celebration, and there's people from South Africa, West Africa, East Africa, all parts of Africa who come together in this huge festival, and they're singing hymns, and each one, of course, because of where they're from, they present in a different style and rhythm. And when I tell you the people, just their natural ability, their bodies and the rhythms that they're as they're dancing, to the music that they're singing, I'm watching their feet, their hands, and how they're clapping
Yeah.
while they're singing, and it just blows my mind. Like,
Yeah.
the coordination, it
Yes.
just, and it's culturally, I think that's where, a lot of, especially for African Americans, that's just our core. And these people aren't necessarily, they don't go to school to learn it. It's just part of their culture, our culture, I should say. And that to me is just, I've seen that, and it blew my mind. And here it is in their language. We're sitting in this festival of singing. I sang one song, of course, it was in English, but all the other songs, except in one other artist, were performed in their native language.
Yeah.
So, and you talk about, and I was moved and couldn't understand a word they were saying.
Yeah.
That's the power of music. And it's like, man, just, and hearing the people, and here it is, people from all ages. When I say all, I'm talking, people in their upper 80s down to, infants and children, adolescents. And they're up and they're clapping, they're singing for hours. This event was not a 2-hour event and go home. It was,
I know about that because when I started being a minister, I was living in Philadelphia, and those are some seriously long services.
yeah.
It was
And
intense.
this thing,
And I remember
yeah,
we had like some women dressed in almost nurse outfits because people would get in so into it they would pass out, and
yeah.
they would help them. Completely amazing. And I'm so glad you brought that aspect up of the timing, because I had just become a minister when I went to Africa, and I remember they're trying to give me a chance. So they're like, let Malcolm go do a sermon. So I was terrified. And I got up there, and two things happened. Number one, in Kigoma, there were some people, I think they were speaking French and Swahili and English. And I really had to learn timing. You might have seen this before. I would say two sentences, then it was translated into another language, and then another one. And I really had to pace myself to look at their responses to see how it was going, right? Because you keep translating, and then at the end, I remember I heard a couple people whispering, and I was like, what are they saying? And they said my sermon was very short. I've always been a guy that gets right to the point. So I thought it was a pretty good 20-minute sermon, but then I watched everybody else, and they, took much
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah, that part of the African American culture can be it's very wow. Yeah, it's one of those things that we can be long-winded to pretty much make a point. But it's again it's cultural, it's our differences, and I've been blessed to be a part of churches,
Yeah.
both African American churches and Caucasian churches, and you know the difference is very different.
Right.
That's
Right.
you go in. I could go to a black church and we could start at 9:30 and get out at noon.
Yes. Yeah.
And
No, but I mean,
and
I've
I
got
go
to
to
say it's just as good, because in Afro
yeah,
American
yeah.
church, they embellish more and they go deeper into it. And I loved the call and responses. I remember
Hmm.
when a sermon would go too long for some people, people would shout out things like, make it plain, bring it home. And then when the message was too powerful for some, they would say, Holy Spirit, don't come back here. I just loved the interaction.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of those, boy. It's like make it plain, bring it home.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a good my father-in-law some years ago had when he was a preacher in Los Angeles, and he would make a statement. One time I was sitting next to him, and the guy was preaching. He had some good points, and going in and everything, and making it really plain. But he was having trouble ending, closing out. So my father-in-law at that time said, that brother's having problems with his landing gear.
Ooh, I love that one.
It said, boy, I almost burst out laughing out loud in the church. It was so funny because, it's just one of those things. And, the whole thing is, hey, man, our cultures are different, and it's about getting what we can get, how it can be best received, and that a lot of times, and sometimes in spite of, sometimes we have so many differences. Some people just close their eyes and their
Right,
ears. It's like I can't be a part of that. And it's like,
right.
well, everybody has a choice to go and be where they prefer, but just because we're different doesn't mean the other is wrong, and
Absolutely.
that's where we get in and problems where we start making my way is the right way and yours isn't, and it's like, okay, well,
Too much of that going on. To
yeah.
wrap up this topic before we move on, the first album I ever bought, and I've got to tell you, this was in the 70s. That's how old I am. The first album I bought was Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. And I remember I bought it at a garage sale, and I could not believe how much music was in it. It was 2 albums, and they still couldn't fit it all, so they put 245s inside the sleeve. And with what you said, listen to what Stevie says in Sir Duke, this completely amazing song. He says, "Music is a world within itself with a language we all understand, with an equal opportunity for all to sing, dance, and clap their hands." That's exactly what we've been saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's, you talk about a person that, oh boy, you talk about a musician, icon,
Yeah.
person that has been, he's gone from the 70s and still relevant today. Here it is in 2025, where, the people of my child and her friends, they know Stevie Wonder. They understand. They hear his music, some of the old music, and they're like, yeah, he's still relevant. And you can't say that about a lot of artists over the years. Some have one-hit wonders. They were good in the 70s for one song or one album, and that's been it. But you talk about somebody that musical genius, can play just about every instrument. Prince, also another genius, where
Yeah.
an artist that can literally play any instrument and make any sound with his voice and draw people in. It's just amazing to be able to do that. I can definitely relate to you buying albums, and what some people, the listeners, might be like, "Oh, what's an album? An
Oh, I
LP?
know, I
I
know.
don't know. A 33, a 45. What is that?"
Oh, I got
You know,
something
it,
better. My parents gave me my grandfather's record player, and it was this gigantic thing with speakers, and it was a bench you could sit on. And you
Mhm.
remember back in the day, you could put 10 records on, it would slowly keep playing all of them, right? It would drop
Yeah,
down one at
yeah.
a time. And my player would do 33, 45, 78, which is a lot of those old big band
Hmm.
era stuff, but it would do 16. So if you were a drummer like me and you had like a Buddy Rich song you were trying to learn, or Max Roach, Tony Williams, I could slow
Hmm.
it down to 16. Of course, it sounded weird, but
Right.
I could learn all those parts and then slowly speed them back up. And I know kids do that today with YouTube, but boy, everything was a little more challenging back in the day, right?
Oh yeah. If you didn't have a record player, you out of luck. And record players, of course, prior to that, we had the 8-track
Yep.
player, and
Yep.
you had to wait for the song to come back around.
And hope it didn't get too hot in your car when you're playing it.
Oh man. And God forbid the tape pull out, and you're definitely doomed there. You got to wind it back up. The set player, just fun times. But man, just having artists like you said with Stevie Wonder, who people who made major impacts on the world through music. And I love the fact that a lot of the songs, some documentaries nowadays that I actually watch,
Same.
where we hear the artist, you hear their music, and it sounds great, and then you start to hear their story. I was baffled that one time I watched some documentary on Marvin Gaye, where they
Right.
were questioning him about what is, and his whole thing was, of course, the image that was presented in his music was all sexual. It was all,
Yeah.
and his interview was like, that was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
He was there, and he said, well, if that's what the people like, I'll give it to them, but I got to he was on a mission with a point that was really trying to reach into that our political world, our whole world as it related to how we treat one another,
Yeah,
you know,
what's going
brother.
on, right?
Yeah, all of that. And it's at that point, you know, there's conspiracies about that say when he started to say too much, that's when, you know, things started to get ugly for him. And
Right.
of course, we know what happened with him, his demise. But it just really proves the point that what we see and what we hear and what's actual is often, too often, way off. You know, some people are judged by the music that they present, and some of them that's just their outlet and or their inlet to get to a deeper cause that they're standing for. So
Yeah, I was recently teaching a high school jazz band at this wonderful school called Champs School of the Arts in Van Nuys, and the kids wanted to learn I Wish by Stevie Wonder. That's probably my favorite Stevie song, so I grew up knowing the song in and out. So we got the song pretty good, but they were struggling with a couple of the horn hits and here and there. So I remember there's that great video of classic albums of Stevie. And if you haven't seen it, look up I Wish on YouTube because Stevie goes into the studio and one by
mm,
one plays all the parts. I mean, he plays the clavinet, you know, the drums, everything. And I always tell people, you should check out what a good drummer is, Stevie, too. There's nobody that
yeah,
plays hi-hats like him.
I'm gonna check that out. I love stuff like that. That's the backstory. Like I said, when you know you hear the final product when it's on a recording or on the radio or Spotify or whatever. But man, to hear the story that, you know, hey, this person, people like Michael Jackson and himself, where, you know, when you strip all the parts down and how he made all those sounds, you know, just, and then it comes together in this beautiful piece that's presented. Now, all we hear is the music. Is these guys are ridiculously talented, you know, and just, I'm going to check that out. I wish.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to check it
send
out
I'm
today.
gonna send it to you, and of course, we all know, you and I know, no auto tune, no beat detective back then. You
Right.
really had to do it.
Yep, yep. You got to be talented to do that, man. Nowadays, you can push a few buttons and tune that thing up, and it's like, oh boy, that's you know, technology is sometimes our worst enemy, man. It's you know, it's good to have the talent to be able to do things, but too often I think it even that concept just kind of creeps over into our way of living. You know,
Yeah,
I can do whatever I want to, and this will fix it. You know, I can drink and go party and I can go take some pills,
right.
something that will help fix my internal problems. It's like, no, just so I think that, you know, too often that whole idea is like, just do what you want to do. Somebody can fix it for you. You know, it can auto tune the thing. It's not a lot of authentic, genuine, I should say, musicians and artists out today because it's all about, hey, what can I do real quick? Auto tune it, put it out, make a quick buck, and it's all about making money. You know, it's not about displaying or sharing my gift and presenting a message that's you know helpful. Just what can I do to make the most money?
My podcast that we're doing today is really based on
Mhm.
creativity. So if it's okay with you, I would like to go way back in time to your childhood.
Okay, yeah,
Are you ready, Robert?
yeah, absolutely.
What's your first creative memory? It doesn't have to be singing, but when was the first time that you thought of an artistic idea in your head, executed it, and brought it into the physical realm? What would you say?
Wow, that is deep. Of course, the first thing that pops in my head when you ask that question, I grew up in church. My dad was a pastor, still is, and very small town, small church in Dallas, where it's primarily my family and my grandmother. She was very key. My dad's mom. Uh, she was very talented singer, and that's the first time I remember hearing or what sticks with me in terms of learning songs in church
Right.
and being intrigued. So as far as being creative to the point where I internalized or created my own, I don't know. I think later on in my childhood, my brothers and I, we sang in at church, and we had a singing group. And of course, I was the younger of all them. I've got three older brothers, and most of their friends and my cousins, they sang with us, and they were all older. So we would take songs that we hear on the radio or on the record and say, hey, let's do this song. So I watched them kind of recreate those songs so that we could learn them ourselves. So that's when I was like, wow, okay, we're taking music and, we're doing it. These people are on records and on the radio, but we're actually singing this stuff. So that creative light went off
Right.
for me. It's, wow, you can do this. We're doing this, I should say. And it wasn't until later in life, well, high school, and I started to, I was playing football. This is the interesting part about my life. Most people don't know. The only time I sang was in church, my dad's church, really small. When I say small, there may be 15, 20 of us in church, and
Okay.
that was all family,
Yeah.
with the exception of one other family. And outside of there, there wasn't anything going on.
Yeah.
So in high school, I'm playing football. I was starting quarterback in high school, and I was working. Long story short, I was working at Pizza Inn in Duncanville
Okay.
and playing football. And my dad says, "Hey, we're in school, so you can do both as long as your grades don't suffer. So
Right.
as soon as your grades start to have an issue, let's regroup." So
Gotcha.
grades started to drop, and my dad says, "Hey, something's got to give." Well, to my coach's surprise and everyone else, my junior year in high school, I said, "Well, I'm going to quit playing football,"
Wow.
and they were, disappointed. And then I'm starting quarterback. So here it is. I stopped playing football. Didn't know until later on that following February there was a big Black History program happening there in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, at our school,
Right.
and there's a big choir, 200, 300 voice choir that the teacher
Wow.
put together,
That's big.
and I was part of that choir, and I had a solo. First time I'm singing in front of my peers, I was nervous, and that was like the start of where I am right now. Just to be honest, that was like the kick right there. So that's in my senior year of high school. Go on to graduate from high school. I started singing, go to college, and I decided to major in music because I liked music, didn't know anything better. And so there forward, I wound up graduating from Southwestern Christian College in Terrell, Texas, with my associate's degree in music and Bible. Then I went from there to Harding University in Arkansas and got my music degree there. And 2 weeks after graduating from Harding, I started touring with the group Acappella based out of Tennessee. So
Incredible.
I'm
Wow.
I never even went back home. But that whole story is like, when I share that with people, most of them like, you play football? Yeah. Had I followed my football dreams, which weren't very big, I didn't really aspire to be in the NFL. I just liked football. But had I followed that, I potentially would have, forfeited some opportunities that really God had purpose for me. So I think it lined up perfectly for me to be even where I am now. Now to have gone to been able to sing in 13 different countries, all over the world, all over the United States, and just being an instrument for God, it's just been huge, and I'm thankful for that. And it's all because of that light that went off when my brothers were creative, my uncles, and said, "Wow, we can do this." And then that we turned into, "We can do this." And I've written a very little music. Mostly I've done a lot of arranging,
Yeah.
uh, arranging songs from instrumental to a cappella, or making different arrangements for a popular piece. But yeah, it's been a fun journey, and it's still going, and I'm thankful.
Well, because you made that big change from football to music, it sounds like your spirituality and your life was just put on the fast track because look how quickly things happened.
Man, yeah, yeah, and it's funny because now when I speak about it, and it's almost like I'm looking back at a story that's mine, and it's like, wow, that really happened. I mean, I really stopped playing football, and wasn't like I was riding the bench, or it's like, oh, this isn't any fun because I'm not getting any play time. No, and I'm the core of the team. I'm the quarterback, so the leader, I should say. It's just like, wow. And but I didn't blink, and I didn't fully understand that at that time. But retrospectively looking, it was amazing how that all those things unfolded. And I just give God glory for that because it's really His purpose. Jeremiah in the Bible says, for I know the plans that I have for you, to prosper you and to give you peace and give you hope. And I'm like, wow, even before I was, you know, existing, He had a plan for me. So that's how I live, and that's what I try to share with people that, hey, you can do what you aspire to do. Is if it's good and it's going to help people, and dig into it. Don't be thrown off by the naysayers. Because I'll tell you this: when I went after I graduated college and I started touring with Acappella, I was touring first as a roadie. So I wasn't even in the group yet. I was doing an internship. Wasn't being paid, but they took care of our needs as far as housing and food. And I was setting up equipment when we were on the road for the concerts, and I was singing background. So my mom says, "You have a degree. You need to come home and get a job." I said, "Well, yeah, but this is what I love." And when I tell you, a couple months later, one of the original members in the group stepped out of the group and decided to go on his own way, and that opened up an opportunity. And they asked me to be a part of the ministry, the full time singing group. And the rest is history. At that point, 2 weeks after I did that, we were literally on the road, and producer called me and says, "Hey, I need you to get your passport ready. You guys are when you leave Minneapolis, you're going to the airport, and you're going to be flying to Germany. You guys got a concert tour over there." And it's just all the things just started. Here I am in my early 20s, and I'm touring full time. We had our own tour bus and all that stuff. It was pretty phenomenal, and it
Amazing.
hasn't stopped.
And
Hmm.
what I really like about this journey is you started from the bottom. You worked on the crew, so I bet you're very patient and kind to everybody in the crew, especially the sound guys, because you know what it takes and you know how everything can go wrong, which is another reason why I loved you doing sound for Morning Sing. But you really understand every aspect. And I think
Yeah,
that, that round
that's
view of everything going on probably really helps, and everybody's happy to have you there.
man, that's so funny you said that. And I mean, I literally the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. I just got back from a 23 concert tour in Japan,
Whoa.
and we had a road crew that traveled with us, and we had a truck and everything. And so every day, these folks, the local people there in Japan, they would set up all the equipment, set all the lightings on major venues, major, huge, and they everything was set up great every day, exactly. The X's on the stage, where you stand, where the mics go, whatever.
Right.
And it's interesting that you said that because I'm so blown away that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
After every concert, we had 23 shows in 30 days. And after every concert, I would go back to the stage while as we were walking out to our bus, and I would tell in the Japanese language, you say "arigato gozaimasu,"
Yeah.
which means thank you very much. And I would yell it out to the crew because they're taking the lights off the bar, they're taking down the stands from the drums, and because to me it's that they're so underappreciated. People look and say, "Oh, the people that are on stage, they're the show." No, man, we don't have a show without a sound man, a
Exactly.
light guy, techs, and they make it go so smooth. They make us look good.
Yeah.
So who are we not to appreciate these these people? So yeah, that's man, that's wow, Malcolm, you just brought something out that I didn't even realize that was happening.
I think it's tremendously important. I try to do that myself. And I'm thinking of a good friend of mine. His name is Ron Mesh. He's a pretty well known tour manager for bands like Guns N' Roses and Morrissey and Tower of Power, Maroon
Mhm.
5. But he
Yeah,
really
yeah.
impresses me because I've seen him backstage. He goes and he checks on and thanks and asks everybody on the crew and the musicians in the band, "Are you doing okay? Is there something I can get for you?" And that just goes a really long
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Oh man, it's all about oh man. I mean, I tell you, I'm getting choked up seriously because
Yeah,
what you go through is preparing you for where you're going to.
exactly.
Um, Sometimes people say, I started from the bottom, so now I'm here, and I need everybody to wait on me. Hey, bring me a drink, bring me something. I need a fan. My room's too hot. No, it's not all about that. You've got to appreciate where you are and where you've come from, and
Yeah.
appreciate those that are still. Because to me, I don't look down on the techs and the people that are setting up the equipment. We are on equal playing ground.
Right. Right.
You're just as much a part of this production as we are. And in fact, I'd even said to our road manager in Japan, I said, "Hey, on the last concert, can we bring out the crew? When we do our encore, they're clapping for us, and can we bring out the crew and introduce them and thank them and let them feel, what we feel as a part of this whole production? They should feel that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
They
I'm
should,
so glad that you guys do that.
yeah. It's man, you gotta appreciate, everybody.
Now, I know you're in a
Hmm.
hurry to head out to Africa. I've got two last
Yeah.
questions for you. The first one is very serious. Do you think
Hmm.
creativity could be implemented in curing people or helping people with mental health struggles such as depression, anxiety, things like that? Any specific insight? And I know your creativity is definitely based in spirituality, but have you seen people struggling with anything in life that this creativity, this music you do, helps them in any way?
And yeah, that's huge. I think I've seen, or I see daily, or quite often, people who are. Let's just take it back. Now, you of course living in Hollywood, and or being around the Hollywood area,
Yeah.
see a lot of different walks of life. You see the big names on Avenue of the Stars, and all the big events that come through there.
Right.
And then you also see just on the other side of the bridge, there's lines and lines of RVs from people that didn't make it,
Yeah.
that caught up in the drug world, and who are now homeless or are shelterless people, who are living basically off of people's crumbs, uh,
And let
handouts,
me
whatever.
say, since you moved, Robert, it's much worse. 10 times
Wow,
worse.
can't even imagine. I mean, it was wow. It's that, and just seeing that, here it is. And I've actually had the opportunity, over in Reseda, our church I served over there. There was quite a bit of people who were struggling with life, uh, and we would pull over and talk to people, and come to find out they were talented, either singers or musicians or doctors, or all walks of life. And here it is, they got caught up in the wrong world, and when tapped into, and you start talking to them about that thing that used to drive them, it's like a light goes off,
Yeah.
and it's like they come back, and they start, and it's no wonder sometimes the conversations I have with people, and them sharing some similarities of things that I experienced. Like, yeah, man, I used to sing, and I did this, and I played this, drums. And one guy played drums, and it's like he came alive. He starts reliving the things he used to do.
Yeah.
And that to me is exactly what you're talking about, where people who, either through their memories or just their aspirations to get back to that world, it can and will cure some of the things, because they found help and hope through something else that really got them addicted, and got them off course.
Right.
But that creativity, just being able to do what they've been designed to do, has just been it's been a slight detour.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a dead end and there's no more hope, but my prayer has always been for people like that. And even in my circle of friends, there's people who've gotten caught up with, the lights and the cameras and the action, to the point where that drives them, and so much so that it takes them off course. And to me, that's a part of the mental and emotional imbalance that we have a potential of experiencing. And I think that's where, when we get back on track to just do what we do, if it's not paying you big dollars, man, I'll take it in a heartbeat over paying me a whole bunch of money to do something I don't really enjoy doing,
Right. Right.
you know. And I think that has a lot to do with the the instability in many people's emotional and mental state, because it's the American, let's say this lightly, the American dream where let me go to Hollywood and make it.
I'm going to be a
You don't know what
star.
that. Yeah, I want to be a star, and it's like the more you've got, the more problems you're going to get. Trust me, we've seen that.
More money, more
But it's
problems, right?
Yeah, it's like, but we're chasing that dream, and I
Yeah.
really think that's a part of the core
Yeah.
of some of the mental and struggles that we're having in our country,
Yes.
in our world, because it's huge, man. And I'm and the crazy man. I tell you, I go back to our trip in Japan. We were there, we toured throughout all of Japan, and when I tell you, we got off the train and the bus, I never saw there was not one person living on the street.
That's
And we went to
amazing.
every part of
I
the town.
cannot imagine that, Robert.
Yeah. And it's when I tell you, and this is no exaggeration, we physically saw a 5-year-old walking to the bus alone to get on a bus to go from point A, not a school bus. I'm talking about a metro, local,
Yeah.
and going from one point. And an older lady can be walking at 11 o'clock at night by herself. That's not a problem.
That's unimaginable here.
Yeah, they don't have those. I shouldn't say at all, but if it happens, it's like on the front page of the newspaper because it's so rare,
Yeah.
so rare. And one of the guys was asking me, he's our tour guide. He said, "Man, I understand you live in Texas." I said, "Yes." He said, "Now in Texas, every people can carry guns." I said, "Yeah, there's a law that says, people are allowed to carry their guns with a license and permit and all of that." He said, "But why?" I said, I know.
I love that.
I don't know why. Like and he said, the most, if there's violence on, person to person violence, in most cases it's never going to be a gun.
Oh, yeah.
It's most likely going to be somebody's, hit someone with something or maybe stab or something like that, which is bad in itself. But
Right.
the extreme violence that we experience here in our country, and it really all goes back to me, mine. I want to protect me, and most people carry guns in Texas as a means of protecting themselves, and then some have a means. They say, "Well, I'm going to get you before you get me."
Yeah.
Even if and it's just we're just in a whack world, man. And I really my closing statement to this is the more places I visit outside of the U.S., I would really, if it weren't for family, my family would be with me. I would not be in the United States.
Yeah.
Period. It's
I
it's
understand
it's
that. And whenever I teach any age group, I say this to them. I say, promise me you'll travel the world and study history. And if we would all do that, I think we'd be
yeah,
getting along a lot better.
and yes. It blew me away. We went to the spot in Nagasaki where 1945, where the United States dropped one of the atomic bombs on Nagasaki,
Yeah.
and we went to that spot where the epicenter, where it all hit,
What was
and they
that
were
like?
telling us, "Oh, it's." I've been to 9/11. Of course, we lived 9/11, and I've been to the World Trade Center where they have their memorial spot, and that's breathtaking. That's
Yeah.
because we experienced it. That's still chilling.
Yeah.
But man, to be in the spot, it was even deeper than that. Here it is, 40,000 people instantly died because of the bomb.
Wow.
And then as an adverse effect of the bombing, another 20, 30,000 died, thereafter in the next year or so.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 70,000 people and a country that did that to them.
Right.
Not even 50, barely. Yeah, yeah. Well, I shouldn't say 50. That's been 80 something years ago. Here it is, and they're welcome. I mean, they welcome us to their country.
That's a lesson.
Yeah, and at that place they have a statue there. You've got to visit it. And the statue, I can only describe but it's a huge statue, and one hand is pointing up. That hand is pointing up to as a sign of warning. There's danger coming, which is the atomic bomb. That's
Yeah.
the memory of that.
Yeah.
Then the other arm is extended out to the left of the body,
and that arm is extended with the hand and it displays the image of peace.
Yeah.
Hey, we want peace. And then the legs are bent a certain way. So there's a whole write-up on what those represent, each part of the body, what it represents. And it was chilling to know here we are, Americans, and welcomed into the Japanese country 20 times over
Right.
to the point where, and they're telling us about a history that our country, did to them.
That
And
must have been humbling.
boy, I mean, humble is not the word. It's like, wow. So it's just, and you hit the nail on the head. I tell my children, people in school that, because I actually work at a high school now here in Midlothian, Texas. And I tell the kids, I say, listen, my kids at church, go, travel, go places. Because the more as a 56-year-old man, even now when I go to go places and learn about the history of those places and the people, it's so humbling. You come back a better person, just without a doubt.
Yeah.
We're never going to change America as a whole, but we can change, our own personal world, and we can change those people who are directly connected to us, and that's our responsibility is to make the difference, starting with us. That's a powerful lesson, man.
Before we leave here, what can I help you promote?
Man, as well, I don't have anything personally going on. That everything that I'm getting this opportunity to go back to Africa for their celebration. I have a YouTube channel that mostly it's just Robert C. Guy. I think it's the Robert C. Guy, because there was someone else had that same name and people started getting mixed up. So whatever. My wife was like, well, let's just put the there, whatever.
By the way, I did go to your YouTube and I love the voiceover. First of all, you've got a great voice, talking voice. My favorite part was probably the Law and Order one with the dun-dun. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. In the criminal justice system.
Yeah, and so you still do that, right? You do a little voiceover here and there?
Yeah, as often as I can. I hadn't broken. That's one area that I can't wait to break into, just to get the opportunity. I love being heard and not seen, and character voices. I love all that stuff. And people like my daughters, they get embarrassed. I'm like, hey, they don't see me; they just hear the voice, and just like anyone else you hear on voiceover, it's fun stuff. So I hadn't had a chance to really break into that, but that's a bucket list thing. I really want to.
You've got an incredible voice. Like at first I was like, is this really Robert? It was great. So if people want to get in touch with you for voiceover work, maybe they want to hire your choir to come out or anything at all, or they want you to guest on their album, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Man, I tell you, I don't have a website, but through those social media pages, my YouTube, my Facebook, it's just Robert C. Guy. I'm just started doing things on Instagram since we came back, since we were in Japan. So I've got an Instagram account. It's Robert C. Guy again. Inbox me, DM me, whatever. Of course, at that point, I can share my personal information at that point as well. But I'm wide open. There's music groups that I've been a part of with Acappella on Spotify. Every media stream that there is, our music is there. And I'm hoping once I leave Africa, I've actually been working on a single that I'm hoping to have the lead vocals recorded while I'm there, because the producer there is helping with that. Lord willing, the first of the year, we should have a release on the song that really comes from my childhood. My brothers and I used to sing. It's a song called "Nothing But the Love of God," and the whole theme of it is nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
It's so simple, and but it's a powerful song, and I'm hoping our plan is to have that released in the early part of 2026. So that'll be on all platforms, as well as my social media pages as well. But I'm so thankful, Malcolm, for the opportunity to chat with you, catch up, man. I've learned a lot even about you. So it's just fun when artists can get together and just kind of chop it up. And though this is a part of your podcast, I just felt like it's catching up with an old friend, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
And I equally appreciate it. And let's end on this. One of my favorite scriptures, almost nobody ever mentions. It's called Revelation 4:6. In front of the throne was a shiny sea of glass. sparkling like crystal. In the center and around the throne were 4 living beings, each covered with eyes front and back. A lot of people think that means this. The clear, vast expanse suggests deep peace, a calm state of being in God's presence, contrasting with turbulent earthly waters. What do you think?
I'm gathering my thoughts because we did a study on Revelations years ago, and what I get from that is even the part where, ironically, the song I sang last year was "Holy, Holy, Holy." I talk about those that were around this throne that daily they were bowing, just saying "Holy, Holy, Holy," just all day long, and it's our opportunity to really magnify God through what He's done, and I'm grappling right now because there's so much depth in that scripture.
You know what? Think about it this way, because you were kind of reflecting on this earlier. The vast expanse of this situation suggests deep peace, especially in a world with turbulence.
Yeah. That says it all, and it's everything that's happening even today, where it seems like a lot of people are saying this is the end of the times. That all the things are showing up in our world, and a lot of it is really around what's happening in America. We have to think of it more globally, because God didn't create America; He created the world and everything in it. And with that thought, it's like, man, if the peace comes from being surrounded by His glory, being at a point where it's like, wow, everything that has come and has ever been is being because of Him, and recognizing that power through God, our Creator. It only humbles you to the point to say, "Holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." That's the peace that I have, knowing that blessed opportunity to share through song, but all about Him.
Yeah, right on. Let's end on that note. Robert, thank you for talking to me today. Safe travels to Africa, and I would love it when you come back sometime next year, if you could tell us all about it.
Oh, man, absolutely. Be greatly honored. Thanks again for the opportunity to you, and I hope you guys have a good, safe end of the year and launch into a new beginning for next year with bigger and better things. And so proud for what you're doing, man. I think I've told you this time and time again, personally, face to face, and I really appreciate you, Malcolm, for what you've done for my child and so many others. I saw the struggle, man. You had to get up and set up all the equipment and get there and get kids involved that were too shy, and you were working magic, man. And it's just probably underappreciated. I know it is, but I'm here to tell you, I am very thankful because my child even was able to branch out beyond what her comfortable zones were, and she sees me doing it all the time, but I couldn't get it out of her. So thank you for for being that.
It's teamwork. It's teamwork, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon, Robert.
Hey, take care. Thanks.
Judge came walking in. There was one standing beside me, a compassionate friend to me. As he spoke my situation, I knew that he was in control of the destiny of my eternal soul. With a hush, the crowd awaited the words he'd say. A finality was pressing like no other day to reveal my destination. That is what I soon would know. To eternity, where was I to go?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm at your mercy.
I stand at your mercy.
You can do with me
Oh, Lord.
just as you please.
You can do with me, Lord.
Please remember
Please remember
my testimony.
all the
blood of Jesus
covers me. When the time came for the verdict, the anticipation rose, but the people knew too well the path and light they chose. Those who had not cared to answer when in life he gave the call, or had known his grace and love only to fall. But as he looked in my direction, I was not afraid, 'cause the nail-scarred hands were right there. They were defending me. But then he rose to give the answer as we bowed unto the Lord. He said, "Well done, my child. Great is your reward."
Yes, Your Honor. I'm at your mercy. You can do with me just as you please.
You can do with me, Lord, just as you please. Please remember, Lord,
my testimony.
my testimony.
Blood of Jesus.
Oh, the blood of Jesus covers me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm at your mercy.
I'm at your mercy,
You can do
Lord.
with me
You can do with me, Lord,
just as you
just as you please, just as you please. Please remember
my testimony.
my
Blood of Jesus.
covers me.
Please remember my testimony. The blood of Jesus covers me. Please remember my testimony. The blood of Jesus covers me.